So we talk about understanding. We've been talking about it. That's weird because we've changed the metaphor. It's now understanding, although it used to be interstanding, standing between people. But I hope you still grasp what I'm saying. I hope you see my point. I hope you get it. You notice all the words you're using for understanding? They're images, but you're not looking at them. When you're like, a little kid might do that. A 3-year-old, you say, do you see my point? And they might look around. But you don't look at that. You look through it to this hard to get a hold of thing, understanding. You're doing it all the time. In fact, and now I'm going to sort of call it out, your language is filled with metaphors, such that you can't go very far through a statement without coming up against the fact that you're facing the reality of metaphors. But I hope that point wasn't too hard for you to take. You're doing poetry all day long, and you not only do it with visual images, although you're not picturing anything when you're doing this. You see how it's imaginal? But you also do it enacted. So you're knowing I'm doing this weird stuff with my hands. This is not ornamental. If I limit your ability to gesture, your ability to solve problems and communicate will go down, and your ability to be understood goes down. So we've got this idea of seeing through, finding the through line. We've got the idea of the imaginal is that we can use imagination not to take us away from perception, but to sensitize us, enhance our perception and our conception. And that we're already always naturally doing that. I argue that the symbol, insofar as it is iconic as opposed to just representational, is not representational, although you can look at it. If you just, and you know, there's all kinds of work, Jean-Luc Marion and Faux's work, and right, if you're just looking at it like a picture, you are not realizing it as it is meant to be realized. You have to look through it, to the through line, and that requires imagination. And when we hear imagination, we hear the romantics, and we hear removing ourselves from reality. No, stop that. That's the imaginary. I mean the imaginal. You have to use imagination in the imaginal way to see through it, so you pick up on what is visible only through it, rather than looking at it. No, again, you're not unaware of it. Remember, you're not unaware of your finger when you're tapping, but you're aware through it. The focal object is not in the visible picture. It is that which you realize through it by an imaginal act that sensitizes you to what can be seen through the image, as opposed to remaining at the superficial surface of the image. And so I propose to you that when we're engaging in the symbolic, we're doing something like that, but it is not something arcane or arbitrarily forced upon us. It is intrinsic to how we move through the world. So the symbolic is actually enlivening something that is part of how we properly cognize the world.